Carrier.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As the representative from Ashland indicated, this bill would prohibit minors from using UV tanning beds unless a physician prescription provided for that. I was surprised to learn that women in Oregon who are diagnosed with melanoma are more likely to die from the disease here than anywhere else in the country. Because skin cancer is one of the most preventable types of cancer, and this is a very tragic thing. While it seems that exposure to UV light is fairly consistent across age groups, research does show that high-risk exposure happens more commonly in teens. Additionally, overexposure during childhood greatly increases the chances of developing skin cancer later in life. In the committee, there was compelling testimony from doctors, patients, even tanning salon owners about the dangers of indoor UV tanning and its known link to skin cancer. With 40% of girls between ages 16 and 18 reporting that they use indoor tanning, it's clear that parents and teens are not educated about these serious risks. You may have heard that there are health benefits to indoor tanning. House Bill 2896 does allow for a doctor to prescribe the use of UV tanning beds as treatment for certain medical conditions. What is important about this legislation, though, is that a teenager would be required to consult with a physician first before using a tanning bed as treatment for that. Physicians can help a minor and their parent weigh the risks of cancer with the possible treatment benefits and work with them to determine if UV tanning is truly the best course of treatment for them. If a child is using a tanning bed as a medical treatment, a physician should be involved in that decision. Currently, 33 other states regulate this industry. California and Vermont have passed similar legislation to House Bill 2896, and even Texas has banned the use of indoor tanning for children. UV tanning beds are ranked at the same level of carcinogen as tobacco products and should be regulated as such. With such alarmingly high skin cancer rates, especially among women, many of whom likely tanned as younger women, House Bill 2896 is an important step to take to protect Oregon's minors from this truly unnecessary tanning risk. And I must point out that if one is interested in pigmentation, let's just say augmentation, there certainly are other options available that don't involve the use of UV rays. But I want to go a little bit farther beyond that and just say, answer some questions that many of you probably have, which is, what's a good Republican like me doing meddling in a private sector industry like this for? About 15 years ago, I had a very good friend, still have a very good friend in Hood River who was diagnosed with chronic myelogenous leukemia, CML. And Doug Jensen went through the typical treatments for CML, and they didn't work for him. His doctor happened to learn about a clinical trial program that was underway at OHSU that a guy by the name of Dr. Brian Drucker had come up with. And Doug Jensen was one of the first, he was actually in the first clinical trial program for Gleevec, which, as many of you know, has become a transformational drug, a world-famous drug that saved hundreds and thousands of lives. And I got to know Dr. Drucker through that experience with my friend Doug. Dr. Drucker came to my office the first week of session and talked about this bill you have before you today. Talked about his conviction that there's something else that we can do in Oregon to try to forestall the unnecessary deaths from cancer in the state of Oregon. Very simple fix is to simply say kids under the age of 18 ought to have a doctor's permission if they're going to expose their bodies to UV rays. When somebody of the caliber of Dr. Drucker, who obviously is the director of the Knight Cancer Institute at OHSU, a very highly regarded physician doing all sorts of research and clinical practices that I think literally have saved hundreds, if not thousands of lives in the state of Oregon, I take that seriously. And I said, I'd be honored to carry this bill, doctor, for you. So that's why I'm here, not in the desire to meddle or intrude into the private sector at all, but I just think it's a very common fix that we can make, common sense fix that we can make to try to prevent unnecessary medical problems. And as I also have a wife, my only wife actually, who, for the record, Madam Speaker, who is involved in oncology herself. And via her testimony and her firsthand reporting, I can tell you that metastatic melanoma is nothing that anyone wants to contract. It's a serious thing. So with that, I'll yield, and thank you, Madam Speaker. Good bill should pass.
Thank you, Representative.